latest episode of the People Matter vlog. Today we're going to have a quick look at the new statutory right to time off for carers' leave. So what actually is carers' leave? So this is a new type of statutory leave which came into force on the 6th of April 2024. It applies to all employees regardless of their length of service and is designed to allow those individuals time off to arrange or provide care of a dependent who has a long-term care need. And some of you might be thinking that this sounds familiar to the already existing right to time off for dependents, but there are a couple of subtle differences which we'll just have a look at now. So first of all, this is a day one right, which means that employees do not need to have accrued any minimum period of service in order to be entitled to it. And secondly, the care needs do not need to be unexpected, so it can be used for things like accompanying a dependent to a planned appointment. The definition of dependent, it includes spouse, civil partner, child, parent, a person who lives in the same household as the employee, but not by reason of them being a tenant or a roommate, for example. And it also includes a wider catch-all provision of any person who reasonably relies on the employee for their care needs. So statutory carers' leave is designed for use with those who have caring responsibilities for somebody with a long-term care need. And a long-term care need is defined as an illness or injury, so that can be either physical or mental, that requires or is likely to require care for more than 3 months. It also covers any disabilities which are caught by the provisions of the Equality Act, and it also covers any issues arising out of old age. We think that the focus on long-term care needs is deliberate, as the government believes that other types of leave, so for example time off for dependents or annual leave, could and should be used for more short-term or unexpected care needs. So the entitlement itself is to 1 week's unpaid leave in each rolling 12-month period. And the leave can be taken in either individual full days or half days up to a block of 1 week, and it does not need to be taken consecutively. It is a right to unpaid leave, so there is no obligation on employers to pay their employees when they take it. So how is a request for carers' leave made? So an employee wishing to take carers' leave must give their employer the required notice, and that is either twice as many days as the period of leave requested, or 3 days, whichever is longer. The notice does not need to be in writing, and an employer cannot require evidence of the care needs before granting the request. It's not possible to decline a request for carers' leave altogether, unless, of course, the employee has already exceeded their entitlement to 1 week. However, it is possible to postpone the carers' leave where all of the following apply. So firstly, the employer must reasonably consider that the operation of their business would be unduly affected. Secondly, the employee must be permitted to take a period of carers' leave of the same duration as originally requested within a month of that original request. And lastly, the employer must give the employee a written notice within 7 days of the initial request, setting out the reason for the postponement and the agreed dates on which the leave can be taken. In practice, we think it's probably unlikely that larger and mid-size employers will be able to rely on significant business disruption, particularly given that the maximum leave entitlement of 1 week is obviously a relatively short duration. Employers should bear in mind that employees can bring employment tribunal claims if their employer has unreasonably postponed, prevented, or attempted to postpone or prevent an employee from taking carers' leave. A tribunal in those situations can make a declaration and can award compensation that it considers to be just and equitable. Similarly, if an employee is dismissed for taking or attempting to take carers' leave, their dismissal will likely be automatically unfair. So let's have a look at some practical implications and things that employers can now be thinking about doing. So firstly, if you've not already done so, we would recommend that employers update or create a relevant carers' leave policy, and this will inform employees of the new right and of the logistics of requesting and taking that leave. Secondly, employers might wish to consider introducing a system of record keeping to keep track of the number of days taken. And perhaps most importantly, people managers should be informed of the new right and adequately trained on how to spot when a request is being made under the statutory scheme, and of course how to deal with a request once it has been made. Because the request for leave does not need to be in writing, managers should be trained on how to identify when a request for time off, which could of course be quite innocuous. So for example, to accompany an elderly parent to an appointment is actually a request for carers leave and should be dealt with accordingly. Some employers can of course consider enhancing the statutory entitlement, so for example by offering paid leave or by increasing the number of days entitlement. This may help to attract and retain those employees who do have caring responsibilities. This could be an opportunity for employees to talk to their employer about the responsibilities that they might have and how they are managing those responsibilities alongside their work. And finally, for any further reading, the government and ACAS have both published some guidance on this new statutory right to time off for carers leave.